Greetings, YouTube. So, we are back with more news and Nuzlocke. And, kind of a slow-ish news week, but, honestly, not too terrible. I think that, we have some stuff to look at. I think we definitely have a bunch of news that intrigues me. We got some stuff to speculate upon. And, we definitely got some conversational pieces. I think that this will maintain us. It'll hold us on as we hop in to some Pokemon Emerald. News ya. Hit you with the news. Alrighty. So, give it just a quick sec to pop up. Alright. And then let me know how your guys' volume is, because I know that Pokemon can be really goddamn loud. I think I turned it to the settings that I had last time, so I'm not as concerned, but we will see how exactly it's going. Nope, that's not what I wanted. I want to move this right here. There we go. Okay. Alright, so, the first bit of news, it's certainly, not going to be the, I would say the most interesting. It's kind of just more drama happening within, just the video game industry, and that's the fact that during, a investors conference, EA kind of, put the blame on the fact that less than, a week after they put out Battlefield 2042, Halo dropped and, kind of came in, stole their thunder. And so, yeah, they definitely, they kind of put the blame a little bit on, like, oh, like Battlefield 2042 would have done much better had Halo not dropped. Which, I don't know if that's something you're necessarily allowed to throw out there and say. Just in the aspect of, we're sitting here with, Call of Duty releases November, December every year. Like clockwork. So I don't know if you can actually come in and say, like, oh man, Battlefield 2042, we would have sold blockbusters if it wasn't for, Halo Infinite coming in and screwing us over. So I don't necessarily buy that. I think that that's definitely them, trying to cover their bases for the fact that Battlefield 2042 didn't end up selling well. It underperformed in their eyes. I know a lot of the issues where people were complaining that, like, they did, like, a test run of it, and a lot of people complained, like, oh, it's super buggy, it's having a bunch of issues. Which, I've talked to some people that said that they never ran into any of that stuff, and they really loved Battlefield 2042. And so, I definitely wonder, what exactly is going on with that there's such a wide variety of experiences happening with that game. Because, it's definitely an unfortunate one anytime, you have a game come out and kind of fail due to bugs, especially when it's something like EA, where that was company pressure to get that game out, rather than, the studio being like, oh, we feel comfortable that this game is done and ready, and we're ready to release this game. And so it kind of makes it a little bit rough, because, you definitely get the feeling that if they had more time, they definitely would have, tried to polish out the game some, but it's just one of those that, unfortunately, it's an EA game, so I think that there was a lot of push to get it out and, make that holiday money, because, that's the whole point of releasing November, December, is that way you can make money for the holidays. I don't know if it was affected by the platform they were playing on, chat, but, it's one of those that, like, also, you guys, you brought up platforms, so this is why I bring this up. But it's interesting the fact that they blamed Halo Infinite, just because it's one that it's like, realistically, like, player base wise, yes, it very much could have stolen the player base from Battlefield 2042. But, like, for most people, that, like, Halo Infinite or I assume, I haven't seen the statistics on it, but for most people, Halo Infinite, I'm guessing, was a free game because of, it being on Xbox Games Pass. So I kind of have a little bit of difficulty imagining them being like, oh, well, sales-wise, Halo Infinite came in with this huge number of sales. Because I don't think it honestly did. Like, most people who are playing it, I imagine, were on Games Pass. So it's like, even if you half its sales and say that half of people played on Games Pass, that's taking away a decent bit of money. And so, I think it just comes down to, the fact that we had so many shooters coming out this year that there wasn't really time for people to bounce around between them. We have Call of Duty, the new one coming out. People are still playing Warzone. People are still playing Apex. You have the occasional, or not the occasional, but you got people still playing, Fortnite. You end up having all of these different things, and so then you throw in, Halo as well, which I kind of feel bad for because, granted, Halo dropped just the multiplayer, so it was kind of like, I don't think it was intentional, but it was definitely, a power play in the face of EA and Battlefield 2042. Just because it's like, I think that Battlefield felt like they weren't going to have to go against Halo. They were looking at like, okay, we're just going to take some numbers, us and Call of Duty, those are the new games, so we don't have to worry a bunch about, player base or that kind of thing. But, then Halo came out and they dropped just the multiplayer. And I think that stole a lot of Battlefield 2042's thunder. And so it's kind of hard because, on one hand, yes, I do think that EA was relying on, Halo to not release until January, February of the next year. And instead it ended up, coming out and, it maybe in some way screwed them over some. But, that's just the business. That's just part of what happens. And, it's unfortunate for them, but, it's the name of the game. And so then we hop into so honestly, most of this, I can kind of question, like, wrinkle an eyebrow about, like, this is just like a weird news week. So we hop over to Skull and Bones, a game that has been rumored for ages at this point. It's been restarted at least 2 or 3 times, like completely scrapping, a lot of the work they had done and restarting it, including the head of the studio that was doing it coming under investigation and actually ending up being fired because of, he was found to, have been a pretty shitty person. And so they're saying that Skull and Bones is going to release in fiscal year 2023, which means that it is going to come out somewhere between April 2022 and April 2023. Which is just absolutely insane considering we haven't seen anything for this game yet. Like, the last stuff we saw for it were like 2-3 iterations ago. And so the fact that they're like, oh yes, we have a game that we are ready to put out is just absolutely insane to me because, we also sit here and, we look at the fact that the game has just changed so much from what they've said, because like originally it was, oh, this is going to be a, dang it, I thought I got the EXP share here, but I don't think I get it quite yet. But, originally it was supposed to be, oh, this is going to be a game that you can play single player, or you can play, multiplayer with your friends. And now it's definitely kind of seeming like it's going to end up being a lot more like games as a service style. And so it kind of, makes me wonder just like how different the game, like story-wise, gameplay-wise, just like how different are we looking for this game? And so, it's definitely one that I'm so excited about it because, it's a pirate game. How many good pirate games are out there? And I know, a lot of people are really big fan of, um, Sea of Thieves, but I don't know, Sea of Thieves, it felt a little too grindy for me, and it was one that I feel like if I was playing with people, it would, it'd be a bit better if you had a crew, but I feel like, the time when I play and that kind of stuff, everybody, is not really playing, people I know wise. And that one, it's one that it's like, it's not necessarily you and one person, you want to play with a couple of people. And so I'm looking forward to this one being more so like, okay, it's always going to be multiplayer, but I'm not relying on them to, helm my ship, like I don't need them steering, I don't need them, raise an anchor and that kind of stuff, it's going to be me controlling that. But, along those lines, something else I'm kind of interested at is originally, part of the concept they talked about for this was the fact that, they were looking at a game where you weren't going to be locked on your ship. You were going to be able to walk around as a person and like go explore islands and that kind of stuff. So I'm really curious to see. Okay. I think this is, damn it. No, this is the phone. I thought it was the XP share. That's upsetting. Oh well. But so I'm super curious to see if that's still a thing. Are we still able to get off the ship, or are we just going to be just stuck on the ship kind of doing that stuff? I gotta call him. Alright, match call. And so it's just one of those that like I'm really anxious because, as chat's saying, games of service is just so broad. It's not really genre, just kind of a money pit. And that's 100% the thing is like games as a service, they make a shit ton of money because they keep adding stuff and people keep buying. And like it's worked because people keep spending money on it. And it's one of those that I think a lot of people spend a lot of money on, but I think that it's very rarely done well. And so it definitely has me, a little bit sad, a little bit anxious, just knowing that that's kind of what they're looking at, especially considering the fact that, not only do you have that happening with, Skull and Bones, but you also have that's kind of what we're looking at for the next Assassin's Creed game. So it's a little sad, it's a little worrisome, but, it's whatever. They're going to try this kind of thing, and then if it doesn't work, then, they're going to abandon the game and move on. Kind of like how we're seeing happen with, Avengers. It's just one of those that they've consistently fallen behind the roadmap, and at this point, the player base has just, like, left them because they didn't have stuff prepared. And so I hope that with all these restarts and, changes, they'll be able to be okay. But, I don't know. I want the best for this game because I really like it. Or I like pirates. I like the concept of it. But we'll see. And then on the other side, you have a studio that has abandoned the way of the games as a service, which is BioWare's Dragon Age 4, which was originally supposed to be games as a service style with multiplayer focused features, went under a complete transformation and restarted. Also, how the heck did he find this Pokemon? Like, we don't find this Pokemon for a long time, chat. Like, what the heck is this guy doing that he already has this Pokemon? I'm calling hacks. This guy's cheating. But yeah, we have Dragon Age 4 has said that they're going to release within the next 16 months, sometime in 2023, looking, back half of the year. And I can't help but wonder, is this game really going to be ready? Because, like, this seems absolutely crazy early. And, like, I know I saw the reports that this game has been being worked on since 2017 in some regards. However, like I said, they swapped it. And so it's just like it's one of those that I I really am hoping that they have this locked in. And I don't have faith that they have it locked in, because I think that they swapped, you know, the vision of what this game was going to be. And I don't think that they've had enough time to get it out looking good in 2023. I think that had they started this game in 2017 and they stuck with that vision the entire time, there's a strong chance that this would have been a great Dragon Age game. But I don't think it's going to be as strong as it could be, even if it is a great Dragon Age game. I think that it's always going to be one of those where it could have just been better. Holy shit. All right, we're swapping out. Yeah, and like, this is the frustrating part, is like, I can't even be upset, because I'm just like, you know, this is what I wanted. I didn't want a multiplayer Dragon Age. I wanted a story-based, you know, focused one. We saw what happened with Anthem when they tried to do, you know, multiplayer games as a service style content. And when that failed, that, you know, was kind of the turning point where they swapped to, okay, you know, maybe we're going to look at doing more of a story-based game rather than, you know, sitting here doing, you know, this multiplayer games as a service type thing. And so, I don't know. I'm happy that this is the direction they went. I think that 2023 is way too early, because, like, if you think that, like, we haven't seen a lot about Skull and Bones, we have seen next to nothing about this Dragon Age. Like, we have seen tiny bits of trailer, we've seen a lot of still concept art, and that's about it. Like, we have nothing from this game. We haven't even got, like, you know, like a good CG, like, sizzle reel trailer, you know, nothing to get the hype. Whereas, like, Skull and Bones had that, like, amazing trailer that absolutely sold the game with a great cover, and, you know, they got people hyped about it. Whereas this, it's just like, it's kind of the same thing they did with Mass Effect, where they're like, we're working on it, and that's the news. They're like, hey, there you guys go, be excited, we're working on it. And it's just like, no, you have to show us something for us to be excited. If you look up Dragon Age 4, I think it's Dragon Age 4. It should pop up for you. I can't remember where exactly. It was one of those where they kind of showed it. I think it was at Game Awards, and I'm not sure if it was last year or if it was the year before. I think it was last year that they showed it, and it was just like, do we really have anything going here? Okay, I need to find the guy that has cut. Alright, where's the man that has cut? I don't think it's in here. And while I search for the guy, I think this is it. Yes. Alright. Skilled trainer. No, wait, don't say a word. I can tell just by looking at you. There we go. Hidden machine. We got it. HM01. I know the poor soul that's going to have to learn this move. And, you know, speaking of games that took their time, you know, they made sure that they gave themselves proper breathing room to put out their game. I'm looking at Starfield, who, you know, quote unquote made waves, I guess, when, you know, they came out this week and they're like, all right, guys, picture this, right? The concept for Starfield, the style, what, you know, we've been kind of calling it within ourselves. Picture this, guys, right? Nasapunk. It's just like, can we stop throwing punk on the end of, like, a word to describe, like, an art style? Like, you got steampunk, okay? That was cool, but, like, nasapunk? Really? What are we doing? And, like, I get it. It very obviously, it tells you a clear style of, oh, you know, this is what this game's going to kind of look like, you know? When I say nasapunk, you can picture in your head what that looks like, you know? I'm imagining a million switches and knobs and levers and that kind of thing that your character's going to be, you know, flipping when you're going to, you know, take off flying. But it's just one of those that it's like, what a weird way to describe the game. It's like, oh yeah, our art style we're going is nasapunk. And you know, the whole thing behind it was they were talking in the interview and they were saying, well, you know, a big part of it is the fact that, you know, we want you to be able to sit here and go, oh, this is how we got here. They wanted you to be able to make connections between like, oh, that looks like this piece of modern technology. It must have evolved into this. And I think that that's just a really dangerous game to play. Like, I think that sci-fi games or books or movies that do it well really do it well. But the hard part is you have to A, make it convincing, and B, you have to not make it boring. And then you have the alternate side where it's just like, I don't believe whatsoever in this technology. I don't believe, you know, whatsoever in the terms they're trying to throw around. And then it, rather than being sci-fi, it feels more like fantasy. You know, it feels like, you know, we got some magic happening. You know, it's just like beep boop boop, it happens. And so I am curious to see, you know, like, oh, is this going to work for them? Or is it going to be one of those where it's like, all right, like, I kind of guess this, you know, makes sense. And chat's asking why, you know, I'm getting so mad about this. But, you know, it's one of those, like, weird ones that, like, honestly, I feel like I'd be 1000% less annoyed if they hadn't called it, yes, Laura is responsible for the lives of all the Pokemon, so, if any of them die, it's her fault. But, you know, like, I feel like had they not called it nasapunk, I would be, like, way less angry. I would still be worried about the fact that I think that sci-fi, if you're going to go, like, that, like, mid sci-fi where it's like, oh, you know, there's a little bit of futuristic, but there's a little bit of, like, present. I feel like that's such a dangerous spot because it can either go so good or just ends up being terrible. And I really want Starfield to be good. Like, I want it to be good so bad. And, you know, speaking of stuff that I just want to be good, but it won't stop being bad, Nintendo, as a company. Nintendo, I am talking specifically to you about the fact that this week they announced that next year they're going to be closing not only the Wii U store, but they're also going to be closing the DS store. And so, you know, they're just wiping out the possibility for you to play any of those old games. And instead, you're going to have to hope and rely on the fact that they will add the games that you want to their subscription service that they are making people pay for in order to get access to these old games. Like, they are just deleting video game history and doing absolutely nothing to preserve it. And it's so annoying and it's so frustrating because it's like, it is so hard to get access to and play some of those older games already without them just absolutely going in and getting rid of these stores. And so, like, this one has me, like, honestly super heated because I'm just like, can we please stop? Like, there are so many great old games that, you know, people are never going to get a chance to play because they just make it impossible for them to play it. And, you know, like, this wasn't one of my news stories that I had, but, you know, Nintendo won a lawsuit against a dude who was pirating Nintendo stuff. And I think he's got to go to jail for, like, 3 or 4 years. And it's one of those that, it's like, okay, I get what he did was wrong. I don't condone piracy. But at the same time, it's like, if you aren't giving people the opportunity to purchase these games rightfully, you should not be surprised when they end up, you know, going and finding other ways to access this content. And, you know, it's just one of those that it's like, surprise Pikachu face. It's like, wait, we take away the games and they find illegal ways to play them? That's not cool. And it's like, you know how many people would pay willingly for some of these older games that you know, they would be willing to try out, like, and this goes onto another thing of Nintendo. Like, this is just the, you know, GlintingRuffian hates on Nintendo. But it's just like, Nintendo, can we stop pretending that your 4 or 5-year-old games are still worth $60? Like, super excited for the Xenoblade Chronicles 3. And I was like, oh, you know, Xenoblade Chronicles 1 and 2, those are both on the Switch. Both of them are over 2+ years old. I wonder how much they are. Both of them are over $60 still, one of them having come out over 5 years ago. And it's just like, okay, there is a series that I'm probably never going to hop into because I don't feel like paying $120 just to pay another $60 to play your new game. Like, it's so upsetting. It's just, you know, like, you can't be surprised when piracy and those kind of sites are so successful when you make them so needed and so relevant. Because honestly, you know, like, this is getting to like Pirates of the Caribbean shit where it's like they're doing good work just in the aspect of video game history and being able to continue these legacies and that kind of stuff. Like, because otherwise Nintendo would have it to where there were games that are straight up lost to time that you would not be able to play. And that is so sad from a company that is such a huge part of the history of video games. And, you know, you have on the opposite side where you have Xbox, who is literally, it's like, are all games available on, you know, the Xbox Series X that were available on the Xbox from, you know, 2000? No, they're not. But they do their damn best, and there are a lot of games that are available. And so it's so frustrating when you have some companies that are taking like really good, meaningful attempts at keeping video game history. And then you have other companies that are just throwing it just away. They don't care about it. It's nothing. And instead they're going to pick and choose what games from these consoles get to stay around. And you can only play them if you purchase their subscription service and continue paying their subscription service. And it's just so frustrating because it's like, just give me an option to where I can just buy this game. Because if I can't buy these games, people will find a way to play them. Like, you cannot defeat the internet. Like, the internet, Nintendo, I know that you guys have difficulties with running your online stuff, you know, people constantly are having issues with lag, getting disconnected from your online games. I know that it's a hard concept for you guys. Internet, it's difficult. But my god, the internet will win 10 out of 10 times. Like, you got this one dude, he's in jail for 4 years, but so many people are going to be taking these games. It's really sad, you know? Like, I think that Nintendo has a responsibility to be better. And that's enough ragging on Nintendo. And so now we're going to all right, chat's got an also. And also, our Weebu's evolving, and now we get to see why I named him Weebu. And it's because he looks like a goddamn ninja. Possibly because he's a ninja bee. Yeah, I made sure we had room for him. I I don't know if I'm going to be using him, though. Just because I'm really scared. Because he's got that 1 hit point. And we're doing a Nuzlocke. And so I'm terrified. I'm terrified that he's going to die. And he's going to be the first death. You know, we're actually not going to learn double team, even though I would argue it's pretty OP. Yeah, I'm gonna stop learning double team just because I think that Weebu as it is isn't glass cannon. Like, he doesn't have a lot of being able to be hit. And so I want him to do damage and knock the enemy out rather than, you know, taking damage and trying to lower their accuracy. So we're going to keep him glass cannon. All right, Fury Cutter. This one, oh my god. Why do bug Pokemon moves suck so bad, and why was this one of the ones that I'd catch? Alright, it gets stronger each time, but it once again comes down to the fact that he is such a glass cannon, I don't trust the fact that he's going to be around to get that to doing a lot of damage. Alright, so now we end with 2 really quick stories, real fast ones. But The Last of Us TV show that, you know, they've been kind of working on. Jesus Christ, he's learning every move in the goddamn bug dictionary. But The Last of Us TV series was, you know, said to be coming out next year, which I don't know anybody who was like, oh, The Last of Us TV series that they started working on, you know, like rather recently. That's definitely going to be coming out this year. Like, I want to say they barely got done like casting and stuff in like November, December. So I don't know why anybody was like, oh yeah, that's definitely coming out in 2022. High production show that, you know, like that should only take a year, right? We want an entire season in a year. So I don't know why anybody was expecting it to come out in 2022. I don't know why they needed to clarify the fact that it was coming out in 2023. It's like, man, you're fooling yourself if you think it's coming out in, you know, 2022. Because like that, there's no way. And then the last news story was a little bit of positive. I know that we've been kind of raging against the machine, that kind of thing. We've been very cranky. But Steam announced that they're going to be selling Steam Deck replacement parts through a couple different stores, which is just a really cool thing when a console or like maker of anything actually lets you, you know, go through and buy the parts rather than, you know, like, oh no, you have to send it in to us for us to fix, and you have to send it to a very specific place. That way they can fix it. And yeah, you know, like chat's saying, Valve's just showing the industry how not to be garbage. It's as simple as that, man. Like, you should be able to A, buy parts to fix it on your own if you think that you are capable of that, or B, be able to take it to like a third party where they can do it for cheaper than having to send it in to the ridiculous place. Like, I know, Laura, I promise I'm not going to do this for long. I know I shit on Apple all the time, but my god, Apple, just let people fix their fucking phones. Let third parties fix their phones. Like, just, come on, can we please? Yeah, no, it's definitely, it's not high praise. Like, Steam's just doing what everybody should be doing. Also, okay, this is him. This is our person. So, Laura doesn't let me hate on Apple. She gets mad at me. Alrighty, so here's the problem, is I feel like I'm really strong, and so I'm kind of scared. Also, look at this son of a bitch. He's got 1 hit point, guys. That's terrifying. I just wanted to catch him because he deserves to be alive. Alright. I got 2 great balls. Let's just fucking do it. We're going for it. He's level 8. I think we got this. Either that or what I'll do. No fucking problem. No fucking problem. We're golden. We're golden. Alright, so, chat, what do we want to name this guy? What do we want to name him? He eventually levels up into, like, almost like a sumo Pokemon meets like yeah, he's very we want to name him Sumo. Cuz like, you know, I feel like it might be a little too racist if half chub, Jesus Christ. We're naming him Sumo. I'm not naming him half chub. We already got a Pokemon named Suck. But yeah, so we caught this boy. He's thick. Thick would have been a good one for him. All right, so we're going to save this. Yep, we're going to override it. All right, guys, so I know we accomplished a little. And, oh, no. All right, so we're going to pause this. We're going to hop over here. And, you know, I'm going to come over like this. What up? And, yeah, we're going to end the Pokemon stream there. And, Laura's named like 90% of the Pokemon on this stream. I don't know what she's talking about. Like, she has been in charge of many decisions that have happened in regards to the Pokemon. All right. So that's the end of this week's news and Nuzlocke. I hope you guys enjoyed the news. Will we ever use our little ghosty boy? I don't know. I don't know if we will. But we have him, and you know, we'll see if he ever gets used or if he just gets to stay safe. But yeah, so this is where we're going to be ending this episode. We're going to continue though over on twitch.tv/GlintingRuffian with some more Mass Effect 2 because Elden Ring's about to come out and I need to finish Mass Effect 2. So we're going to go and finish Mass Effect 2 no matter how long it takes. But if you can't make it, hey, it's all good. The videos are going to be uploaded to YouTube. You'll be able to watch them there at your own pace, hang out. You know, we also, you know, we make sure that we put the highlights up for those of you who can't, you know, watch all the content, or maybe you just want extra content. You want to be reminded of the good old times, the great stuff that's happened. And that's provided by my wife, and she makes those over on TikTok. But chat's killing me. And if you want to be a part of chat, hop over on Twitter, where you know, you can see me talk about stuff and we can chat about things. But that's not the chat that's talking to me right now. That chat is over on Twitch. I'd appreciate if you guys liked, commented, subscribed, followed, all the things on all the platforms. And you know, it's easy because it's all just Glinting Ruffian. Just look for Glinting Ruffian and you will find me. But without that, I will see you guys later. A goodbye.